Hi, today I'm going to talk about human immune system. Immune system is the body defense against a variety of foreign substances, including microorganisms, which causes infection, transplanted cells, tissues, and organs. The mechanisms involved enable the individual to recognize and respond to the foreignness of wide range of biological substances which are potentially harmful if present in the body. Collectively, those organisms are known as pathogens when they cause diseases in the host. However, many cells and organs work together to protect the body from pathogens. The immune system has three primary lines of defense. The first two lines of defense are non-specific defense, and the third line of defense is a specific defense. Non-specific and the specific defense work together to coordinate their responses. First line of defense. The first line of defense is the non-specific defense that prevents pathogen from entering the body. It consists of physical and chemical barriers. For example, skin, mucous membrane, hydrochloric acid, and so on. Skin. Skin is the largest organ in the body, and it consists of three components: epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous. Skin has a thick layer of dead cells in the epidermis, which provide a physical barrier to virus, bacteria, and so on. Skin serves as a barrier against pathogens spreading throughout the body, and it contains the protein known as keratin, which resists physical penetration into the cell. Mucous membrane. The mucous membrane lines the surface of the eyes, nose, mouth, respiratory tracts, vaginal tracts, throats, and so on. It serves as the primary interface with the external and internal environment. Mucous membrane prevents infection agents, pathogens, and allergens from invading the body. Eyes. The tears gland in the eyes produce an antipsychotic oil known as lysozyme. When someone blinks, the lysozyme spread over the surface of the eyes, kill the bacteria. The eyelashes and eyelids prevent dust and airborne microorganisms from reaching the surface of the eyes. Nose. The nose is covered with internal hair that filter microbes, dust, and pollutants from the air to prevent them from invading the body. Cells in the nose produce mucus that trap pathogens before they reach the lungs. During the blowing of nose, the mucus is removed as well as pathogens that are within. Stomach acid. The stomach contains hydrochloric acid, which destroys any pathogen that cling to the mucus of the respiratory tracts or are consumed in food or water. The second line of defense destroys invaders in a general way and do not target specific antigen. It activates when pathogen passes through the skin, mucous membrane, and then enter the body. It consists of range of non-specific responses such as inflammation, phagocytes, fever, macrophage, complement protein, and cytokines. Inflammation. Inflammation is a local reaction of tissue that occurs in response to tissue damage or other stimuli. It occurs when white blood cells flow an area where microbes have invaded. Histamine increases blood flow to the injured area and increases the permeability of surrounding capillaries, causing fluid and white blood cells to link from the blood vessel into the nearby tissues. Phagocytes. Phagocytes are white blood cells that use phagocytes to engulf bacteria, foreign particles, and dying cells to protect the body. Phagocytes. Phagocytes work to remove all kinds of potential harmful pathogens from the body. Macrophage. A macrophage is a type of cell known as phagocytes. It detects and destroys pathogens they encounter. Macrophages are innate immune cells present in every tissue and necessary for homeostasis. Macrophages help initiate the adaptive immune response by presenting antigen to T cells and secreting factor to induce inflammation and recruit other cells. Neutrophil. Neutrophils are the most abundant white blood cells in human and arises from granulocytes. The third line of defense. The third line of defense aims at attacking specific infection that the immune system has encountered before through acquiring or adaptive immune response. The immune response generated for this defense is not restricted to a specific infection site, but it is distributed throughout the entire body system. The primary cell of the acquired immune system are lymphocytes, which is white blood cells that contain B cells and T cells. And the components of these defense systems are identifying, destroy, and remembered. B cell. The B cell deal with antibody assisting immune response, also known as humoral immunity. B cells are the center of the adaptive humoral immunity system and are responsible for mediating the production of antigen-specific immunoglobulin. T cell help to release certain substances into the blood and by signaling B cell through contact. T cells take part in cell-mediated immune action. T cells are relatively common and amount of about 80% of all lymphocytes. There are three types of T cell: cytotoxic T cell, suppressor T cell, and helper T cell. They all work together to destroy invaders. Immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulin is a large wire-shaped protein used by the immune system to identify and neutralize foreign objects such as pathogenic bacteria and virus. Immunoglobulin has 5 classes: immunoglobulin G, immunoglobulin M, immunoglobulin A, immunoglobulin D, and immunoglobulin E. Transplantation is a major medical procedure used to restore a malfunctioning organ. The immune system, which recognizes foreign microorganisms and provoke an immune response, play a significant role in determining the success of organ transplantation. Organ rejection occurs when the immune system detects a transplanted organ as foreign and initiates a reaction that destroys the organ. The intensity of the immune response to organ transplantation is determined by the genetic differences between the donor and the recipient. To prevent an attack on own tissue and cells, known as anti-immunity, the immune system must be able to distinguish between own cells and foreign cells. Self-recognition. Self-recognition accomplished through human leukocyte antigen, a group of genes that recognize foreign factors and produce protein that signal immune response. On the surface of each cell, the protein acts as a self-producer, preventing the immune system from responding to its own cell and tissue. Each person has a unique set of human leukocyte protein that the immune system recognizes as self, and any cell lacking this protein are identified as foreign invaders. Transplanted organ rejection occurs because human leukocyte antigen proteins are capable of identifying transplanted organ as non-self and can trigger an immune system. Therefore, rejection of organ transplant transplant is reduced by matching donor and recipient genetic factor. However, it is difficult to get two people with the same genetic characteristics unless they are identical twins, and transplant will always present a certain degree of rejection. The two specific immune disorders are rheumatoid arthritis and lupus. Rheumatoid arthritis occurs when immune system mistakenly attack its own healthy cell or tissue. This condition causes pain in the joints and can affect different parts of the body, including skin, eyes, and heart. It causes painful erosion of bone and joint abnormality. Symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis include swelling, joint pain, stiffness, and loss of appetite. It can be treated with some medication, but if left untreated, it can cause permanent physical disability. Lupus. Lupus is another autoimmune disorder that occurs when the immune system becomes hyperreactive, forcibly damaged to healthy tissue. It can be mild to severe. Severe include damage to the heart, lungs, brain, and kidney. There is no cure for this disease, but can improve by using certain medication. The symptoms of lupus include fever, chest pain, dry eyes, swelling, and stiff joints. It can be common in It is more common in women of all age, between 15 to 45 years. Acquired immunity. Acquired immunity is a type of immune system that develops or is acquired during a person's lifetime as a result of infection, vaccination, or antibody administration. It can be divided into two parts, passive and active. Both active and passive immune systems can be developed either artificially or naturally. Active immunity can be acquired through natural immunity or vaccine-induced immunity. It's acquired from exposure to the disease organism through infection with the actual disease. Passive immunity is provided when a person is given antibody to a disease rather than producing them through his or her own immune system. For instance, newborn baby acquire passive immunity from its mother through the placenta. Also, people get passive immunity through antibody containing blood products such as immunoglobulin, which may be given when immediate protection from a specific disease is needed. The main goal of vaccine is to generate an immunological memory to trigger an immune response and fight known pathogen without getting sick. Vaccination is based on the fact that exposure to non-infectious antigen from known pathogen induce a moderate immune response. It is this knowledge that makes the vaccine work. However, the host does not recognize the immune response to the vaccine as a disease, but use it to generate memory of the infection. The immune response is the same as the secondary response because exposure to a vaccinated pathogen leads to formation of more memory cells and resistance to reinfections increases. Vaccines are used to build immunological memory to prevent future infection from a specific infection. Globally, infection control has been tightened over the year, reducing mortality rates. Measles is one of the most common viral infections that cause various complications, such as inflammation of the brain. Measles infection destroys and suppresses the entire immune system. making a person vulnerable to a variety of infections. In the past 20 years, vaccination has significantly reduced the number of people dying from measles in the UK. Measles infection were first diagnosed in England and Wales in the year 1940. And before the first vaccine were introduced in the year 1964, there were between 16,000 to 80,000 cases per year. By 1968, vaccine coverage was inadequate to prevent spread, and 80% of adults had reported reinfected. Between 1970 and 1988, measles was the leading cause of death in infants and children who could be vaccinated, particularly with immunosuppressive treatment. The incidence of measles has declined significantly since 1988, when the vaccine was introduced and coverage increased from children between the age of 13 and 15. Measles cases rose again between 2000 and 2017, and the United Kingdom stepped up with the vaccine campaign. Now, most cases of measles in the UK are related to travellers and unvaccinated people. Herd immunity is indirect protection from infectious diseases through a large percentage of a certain population. Immunity increased through either immunization or acquired immunity from previous infection cases. If a large proportion of the population is immune, the diseases is difficult to spread because no one will be infected. Herd immunity does not apply to all infectious diseases. Some diseases, such as tetanus, can only be prevented through individual vaccination. In some cases, the effectiveness of vaccination depends on several factors that can affect implementation. Some factors influencing vaccination consumption include consent, parent personal beliefs and perception, provider influence, information available to both provider and parents. However, consent regulation vary from one state to another, and while adults are expected to give consent for their youngsters, adolescents are expected to fill their own consent file. Perception risk among adolescents is high because of uncertainty fear, which simultaneously reduces the uptake of vaccine. It also play an important role in increasing confidence in the vaccine, as parents are less affected and depend on their healthcare provider. Parents who have belief against medical practice may refuse to vaccinate their children because it violates their beliefs, and have a high awareness of the risk during immunization. It's also important on how well the parent and healthcare provider get along. If two people had little knowledge about the vaccine, they would provide less support.